Welcome to Rob Schmitt tonight. Today, something unusual happened. Establishment Washington appeared to hold itself accountable. The DOJ charging Joe Biden's son with some of the many crimes he's been implicated in, charges for failing to pay his taxes and a felony federal gun charge. Of course, a no jail time plea deal was announced with the charges, but the president's son admitted his guilt. And it almost seemed like we had equal justice under the law again. Just as bizarre, establishment media actually covered a story that makes establishment Washington and its most powerful family look really bad. These events don't really happen anymore in post-Trump America, but they did today, and they happened for a very specific reason. Today, the D.C. machine began the process of gaslighting the American people into trusting our corrupt justice system once again. Anybody paying attention realizes the Department of Justice has reduced itself to little more than a tactical tool of left-wing power. The DOJ constantly fails to identify actual threats in this country and focuses mainly on politically useful operations. Right now, the DOJ is working to throw Donald Trump, the presumptive 2024 Republican nominee, in prison for the rest of his life for the unimaginable crime of toying with them as they tried to recover classified documents. As far as Hunter's case, former FBI agent Asha Rapanga, who now gets paid by ABC News to push establishment propaganda, tweeted, "Just catching up on the news. So Joe Biden's weaponized, politically motivated Justice Department has charged his own son?" Now, left-wing Twitter is full of hot takes like this today. Regime loyalists mocking the MAGA types. See, the DOJ is honest, you morons. They charged Hunter Biden. And before anybody can compare the fact that Hunter is getting no time for a federal felony gun charge, our state-run media was there to do what they always do in post-Trump America. Remind you that the government is always honest and always operates with integrity. And Hunter's plea deal is definitely not a sweetheart deal.
They've been trying to paint a picture of a Justice Department that has been weaponized against Republicans in favor of Democrats.
Given all of that, and given similar cases with tax fraud, this is not a sweetheart deal. It's a deal. I think it's a good deal for Hunter Biden in that he will stay out of prison and end up with only 2 misdemeanors on his record.
A rare charge. I think it indicates that the prosecutor's gone out of his way to charge everything that could have been charged.
And it shows that no one is above the law, which is important, not even the president's son.
Obviously, Republicans, Trump Republicans have been trying to stir up conspiracy theories left and right.
The one guy said they went out of his way to charge everything they possibly could. They dropped the hammer on Hunter Biden, according to the media. The Department of Justice is such a pillar to equal justice under the law, say all the cable news hacks. Somebody should probably tell these people the max penalty for felony federal gun possession is 10 years, by the way. They should ask rapper Kodak Black what he thinks of the Hunter Biden deal. He got 3 years in federal prison for the same thing before being pardoned by former President Trump. You know, the racist former president of the United States. Rapper Lil Wayne faced 10 years in prison for the same charge, also pardoned by our racist ex-President Trump. And these are just a couple celebrity cases. How many thousands of Americans are rotting in prison right now for gun crimes in a country that says it has a right to bear arms? Just possession of a gun crimes. And nobody has come down harder on guns than Hunter's father, Joe Biden. The Democrat Party is constantly working to imprison every single illegal gun owner in America except Joe Biden's son. But now let's get to the real meat of what today was all about, because that's all just the distraction. Today was a total fake out, and the media's helping hand, as we've said many times before, the media was there with a helping hand. The Hunter Biden story has nothing to do with taxes and guns. And that's the reason the DOJ charged these crimes, because Hunter and the Biden family appear to be so criminal and so corrupt that these rather serious charges and crimes were what they showed off so the real activity could continue to be concealed, the corruption. What we saw today was the only way to move past the almost irrefutable evidence that Joe Biden has been taking bribes from foreign entities and enriching his family for years. Today's move allows the DOJ to move past the real crimes, to ignore what's really going on, and the media as well.
You could see this as a significant victory for Hunter Biden, but also looked into whether he was violating the law by representing foreign companies or governments. You know, NBC News reported that he was paid millions of dollars, some $13 million from Ukrainian and Chinese business interests. At the end of the day, investigators did not find criminal wrongdoing in any of that.
Yeah, you know, it's like just 10, 20, $30 million. Nothing to see here. For a guy that had no reason to collect that money, had nothing to offer. Imagine believing that. Imagine saying that. Imagine just blindly propagating for the federal government and calling yourself a journalist. How embarrassing. Ignore the overwhelming evidence of influence peddling, maybe $30 million the Bidens have allegedly taken in bribes. Solid, concrete, irrefutable evidence that these people refuse to look at. Bank documents, whistleblowers, business partners that were in the room with the Bidens when the deals were done. And the media telling the masses today the Biden corruption story ends here. It's over now. Now we're on to 2024. Wipe the slate clean. Biden's ready to go. Now, Trump, he might be in prison. Who knows? But Biden's clean. Media accountability of government, as you all know, is essential to a functioning democracy, and it is gone. The media are now blindly controlled by the state. You cannot overstate how threatening that is. You really can't. Hunter Biden is the president's bag man. That's all he's ever been. That's his only skill. That's his only job. The DOJ filing says Hunter Biden made $1.5 million in 2017 and $1.5 million in 2018, and somehow only had a tax liability of $100,000 per year and refused to even pay that. Now, that tax liability puts him at under 7%. That's a whole other story that we can't yet explain. But that's what was in the filing. But even at 7% of $1.5 million, somehow Hunter couldn't be bothered to pay that. And then you remember Hunter complaining about giving his father half of his income. The text messages on the laptop. Hunter said, I got to give dad half. What does that mean? Well, that means that Joe Biden is a tax evader as well. Half of Hunter's untaxed dollars go to Joe Biden. He admitted that. It's in his text messages. He wouldn't make that up. He was complaining about it to his family. He was angry at his father for taking half of his money. So Joe doesn't pay taxes either. But publicly, the president sounds like this.
Just begin to pay your fair share. Pay a little bit. You want to be a billionaire and a millionaire? That's great. Good for you. But pay your fair share. If you're able to make $1 million or $1 billion, have at it. That's good for everybody, except pay your fair share. But Lord's sake, the idea, let's start paying your fair share.
Just so you know, the allegations they've brought in $10, $20, $30 million from China, Ukraine, Romania. Look at their tax returns from all of those years. It's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. What's Joe Biden paying? What's his fair share? A few percent at best, if the allegations are true. There's not an authentic bone in that man's body. Joe Biden is a confirmed 3-time plagiarist, and that's just the times he got caught. A plagiarist is a soulless person. Once a person earns that label, once you're able to just take someone else's work and label it your own, once that's who you are, that's everything that you need to know about that person. A man so corrupt, his son just pleaded guilty to tax fraud just to conceal the real dirt. This was just the distraction today. And the DOJ knows it too. They have to know it. They've been looking at it for 5 years, and we presume they're not idiots at the DOJ, because you'd have to be an idiot to not know what's going on here. And that's the real story. That is the real cover-up.